Last night. Joining us now with more on the pick, John Malcolm, Vice President at the Heritage Foundation, Senior Legal Fellow and Director of the Meese Center for Legal and Judicial Studies. In 2016, John created a short list of successors for the late Justice Scalia, a list President Trump cited as influential in his own roster of potential nominees. Not that the Wall Street Journal is the end-all, be-all, but I read the op-ed pages quite a bit. I have a lot of respect for the editorial board there. They love this guy, John. I guess it probably means the New York Times editorial board hates this guy, but is there an objective truth about Brett Kavanaugh that isn't based on your political prism?
Sure. I mean, Brett Kavanaugh was one of the 8 people whom I said would make a superb Supreme Court justice. And he's a very well-qualified individual. Yale Law School, clerk for Justice Kennedy, he was a partner at a prestigious law firm, worked in the Solicitor General's office and the Office of Independent Counsel. Then he was a senior advisor for 5 years to President Bush, and for the last 12 years, he has served with distinction on the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals, which is usually considered the second most important court in the land. He's issued over 300 opinions on a wide variety of areas, a lot of it administrative law, but some of it constitutional law. And whether you agree with him or disagree with him, he is a superb writer, an incisive thinker, and that's why he is well respected by people across the political aisle and judges all over the country.
We'll see whether that helps. In this tribal environment that we're in right now, if you just were to say, set politics aside and look at this man's qualifications, and you were forced to do that, if someone was going to pay you $1 million to decide it not based on politics but based on qualifications, what the person seems to be like as an individual, you couldn't probably say that this is something we need to throw everything at to stop. But that is what's going to happen. 50% of the country is going to believe this guy is one of the worst human beings on the planet. By the time they're finished with him, by the time the left is finished with him, that's what they're going to think. So what do we do about it? I guess you just throw up your hands and say that's the world we're living in right now?
Yeah, that is unfortunate. It would be nice to return to a politer, more civil time. But, yesterday, I forget which TV station it was, went out to a college campus and asked people their opinions about President Trump's pick. And they said, oh, well, he's a racist. That's well known. It was before the pick was even named. It is a closely divided country. The bases on both political parties are certainly energized by this, so it'll be a contentious hearing.
I saw one of the politicians said a lot of people are going to die because of this. I think he said women are going to die because of, I guess they're connecting the dots to overturning Roe v. Wade or something. I mean, I heard that about tax reform. I think a lot of people are supposed to be dying from tax reform. So there's going to be, I guess there's going to be fatalities all over the place by the time
it's a pure scare tactic. I mean, the left has been predicting Roe's demise ever since the nomination of Sandra Day O'Connor. There's only one justice on the Supreme Court, Clarence Thomas, who's explicitly called for Roe to be revisited and overturned. And the justices move very, very slowly. John Roberts is still on that court. They're not going to be in any hurry to overturn Roe versus Wade, and may not at all.
John, you're an expert, so give me the soft underbelly of Brett Kavanaugh for the left. What is it?
Hard to see one. He did serve in the Bush White House for 5 years.
The left loves Bush now compared to Trump. I mean,
they didn't love him at the time.
They think W was before they didn't, but they think he was like the greatest president except for Obama.
That could be. They could latch on to the fact that he was one of the authors of the Starr Report to Congress. They'll pick at a particular opinion that they didn't like, probably one upholding, executive authority. But look, when you write 300 opinions and a bunch of law review articles and you worked in the White House, at some point you're going to come up with something that somebody won't like.
It is going to be fun to watch Heitkamp and Manchin and the other guy,
Donnelly.
Yeah, those guys, they were hiding yesterday. You couldn't, there was nowhere, no, we're not coming, but we're looking forward to meeting him, but we're not looking forward to meeting him that much. But, I mean, they don't know whether to, that's going to be really fun to watch that because, they're in states where there's some you know, there's some Trump supporters, but also some reasonable people that if you just go all out and just pretend that this guy is just, it's not going to fly, I don't think. So I don't know how they're in a tough spot.
Yeah, no, it didn't fly with Neil Gorsuch either. I think you could probably add John Tester and Doug Jones to that list, but it'll be an interesting hearing.
Yep, well. All right, I don't know, sad, the whole thing, but anyway, thank you, appreciate it, John.
Great to be with you.
Okay.
Well, today is the day Scott Cohn will reveal CNBC's top state